I would like to make a point to Mr. Murray. The last point you made in favor of the motion was that the people of Europe have the right to protect their identity and that their politicians should respect that right. And I would like to ask you why you feel that the presence of 1 or 2 or 1,000 people with a different identity within a society threatens the identity of the people who were in the society originally. Whether you believe that is a legitimate concern or a primal fear, and whether you agree that when a primal fear drives a crowd, they become a mob, and that a politician should follow a mob and not provide leadership by calming the mob down and giving them a reason. That is my question. Thank you.
I would hope, among other things, that I would help to rebuild my country after the Assad dynasty had wrecked it so completely. I'd hope that I would stay and help to rebuild the country after the devastation caused by that family. Secondly, the gentleman here who said 1 or 2 people, the gentleman here said, why are you threatened by 1 or 2 people? I'm not threatened by 1 or 2 people. Nobody is threatened by 1 or 2 people. The figures I gave you showed we're not talking about 1 or 2 people. The figure I gave you at the very beginning was that people who identify as white British citizens are now a minority in their capital cities. So we're not talking about 1 or 2 people, and it is very disingenuous to pretend that I was. Thirdly, the lady at the back, you say colonialism. I'd like to return the question to you. I don't deny the crimes of colonialism, not for a moment. I'd like to ask you a question. How long do former colonial countries have to be punished for then? How long do we have to have our identity erased for? Is there any end limit to it in your eyes, or is it only at the point of complete negation? And finally, why is it that it's only European former colonialist countries? One of the largest and most significant and longest colonial powers in history was the Turkish Empire. Do we do this to Turkey? Do we say to Turkey, you must have your identity erased as well as punishment for the past? Almost every single people in the world at some point has done something historically they could be punished for. But why, I wonder, is it that it is Europeans that we are always being heard, being offered that choice?
Douglas Murray, thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Douglas Murray, good as he gets, he gives just right back with those questions that were asked of the panelists. Precisely, concisely. It's like a laser-guided missile, word missiles that just go right back at the people that ask the questions. So the first gentleman asked, 1 or 2 people, even if it's 1,000, why do people care? If they said, are you scared? Why is the fiery mob, getting so upset if everything is changing? And Douglas answered the question. It's not just 1 or 2. It's disingenuous. We're talking hundreds upon hundreds of thousands, if not millions, that have come across in a very short period of time. And most of the immigrants, most of the asylees, most of these migrants are poor, uneducated. They're coming for economic reasons. They're leaving strife. They're leaving famine. They're leaving persecution. They're leaving death, destruction, war, you name it. The majority of them, as I said, uneducated and do not want to assimilate, are not willing to integrate. They shield themselves from society. They want to impose their culture, their mores, their values, their laws, their religion. They would like to, bring that about as a change. And the people, the Western Europeans, they're going, listen, we want to be welcoming. We want to open up with open arms. And we're very loving. And we're very accepting. But things are changing so fast. Just like he was mentioning, in the city of London, the white Britishers, the white Europeans feel that, what's happened all of a sudden? And that's a question. That doesn't mean that you're racist or bigoted. You're just wondering what's going on. And then for the growth, basically, that was talking about the imperial colonial powers and how they raided and took from everybody, and how come we continue to blame the Western European, blame America, blame all the countries, Spain, Britain. What about Spain? What was their thing in this here? And as Douglas pointed out, what about one of the greatest empires in the world at that time that dominated for centuries? The Turkish Empire, the Ottoman Empire. Does anybody go and say, where's Turkey? Where's the reparations from Turkey? What's going on over here? Why is it always white Europeans that need to be, flogged every single time? And then there's self-flagellation from European whites and other white Caucasians. And then there's a flagellation that occurs from everybody else around the world that just basically wants to sort of whitewash everything else from around the world, except that everything must have come from Europe. Everything must have come from England. All the bad things happened in England. All the bad things happened in France and Western Europe. And then the United States of America entered. And these are just bad actors, colonialists, imperialists. Amazing, folks, amazing. But Douglas handled each and every one of those questions great. And basically, that's the way that Douglas does it. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host, Dr. Nasir. If you like our content, we'd love for you to subscribe to our channel. Like, share, and follow us. You know what to do. Check out our other video links above and below. And I'll leave you with my final thought, which is, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.